Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of making an amigurumi elephant. If you guys haven't watched part 1, it's in one of the kind of like links here or even the link below. Please watch that first before you do this because you'll need to make all of the individual parts for this elephant before you can piece this whole thing together. So watch that first and then come back to this. But if you're already here from part 1, welcome back. We're going to finish this thing, so let's dive right into the tutorial portion of this video. Hey everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of this tutorial to make an amigurumi elephant. Before you are all the pieces that we made from part 1. Just a quick kind of review. This is the trunk, these are the ears, the 2 tusks, this is the tail, and these are the 4 legs. So we have 3 of these that are disconnected from the yarn, and this 4th one was the last one that we made at the end of part 1 where it's still connected to the yarn. And we're going to start with this one. So before that, let's clear off our table and let's continue on with our project. Welcome back. This is the foot that's still connected to the actual ball of yarn. We're going to be connecting the feet together. We're going to grab another one of these feet and we're going to join it with a single crochet. I myself prefer doing it kind of a little bit closer to where this kind of tail of yarn is. I like just kind of crocheting over it immediately, so then that way it's kind of out of the way. So I like to crochet it right here. So I'm going to connect it right here, maybe like 1 or 2 stitches before the tail, and that is your joining single crochet. You're going to single crochet 14 times around the new foot. So this is 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And at this point, I just let go of the tail. I've already crocheted kind of like 7 or 8 into here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright, so we have now connected 2 of these together. We're going to grab another one and we're going to connect it the same way. I'm going to do just a couple of stitches before this tail here. We're going to join it with a single crochet again. And we're going to do 14 stitches. And 14. So that's 3 of our legs connected together. We have one last one to work on, so let's grab this last one here. Same thing as before. We are going to single crochet to connect it. That's our single crochet connector. Now we're going to single crochet 14 times around again. So those are the 4 connected together. The last thing you need to do is actually connect them kind of like this. Let's see if I can give you a really good kind of a visual on this. So I'm just going to tuck some of these away. But as you can see here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 stitches, single crochets in the middle here. So you have 4 here, you have 4 there, and you want 4 here and you want 4 there, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to count, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 4 that you want. And if you were to count around, let's say here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There you go. Those are your 4. And that would be your 14 stitches. Now do be careful when you're connecting it that you are connecting it with a 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet. So that means that when you're connecting it with single crochet here, when you go around, make sure you're counting correctly, and you're going to get that last 14 single crochets around. And there you have it. It's all connected. The main thing is you need to make sure you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to have 16 in the middle because that's what we're going to be working with. At this point, if you are using more than one ball of yarn, you can actually leave this ball connected to here just by kind of just pulling it out like this, just leaving it to the side, and then using a different ball of yarn to connect this. Now, I'm only using one big one, and in the actual pattern, they need you to do this as well. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be grabbing your scissors, and you're going to be cutting the yarn, because we're going to actually be working on the insides here, and we're going to be connecting them all together so that we seal up this area. So that will be our next part, kind of like, I guess, like the inside part of the legs. We are now going to be joining our yarn into the center here, and they ask you to prefer to like kind of use the corners and stuff. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't be using the corners. So we're just gonna connect it here. And generally speaking, I just like to kind of connect it with like a slip stitch of some sort. Anyways, it's not super like tight, so that way you kind of use it as a stitch. In any case, you're gonna do, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're gonna go 4 here, 4 here, 4 here for 16 in total. So that's 1, yeah, do be careful about all your other yarns and all the other kind of like ends and stuff. I haven't weaved mine in, so that's why I'm having a lot of troubles kind of working with them. But essentially, once you get to here, careful, you're not going to be using kind of any of the kind of extra ones here. Jump to this next 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, jump to this next 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then jump to the next 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And last thing, I like to just do 1 here. That's 16, and that kind of connects everything together. So that's your 16. And what they want you to do after you're doing your 16, you're going to do another row of 16 around, just to kind of like, you know, solidify everything. Next, we're going to decrease to 8. So decreasing is super simple. What you do is you yarn, you go through your grab, go through, grab, single crochet. So you go over one more time, grab through all. So that's decreasing it from 2 to 1. So that's 1, like this, 2, decrease, 3, decrease, 4, decrease, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Last thing, you're going to decrease that 8 to 4, and at this point it's going to get really hard to see just because the space you're using is going to be really small. But let's do this together. So you're going to 1, that's a decrease of 1 right there. Next, go to your next 2, 1, 2, so that's your decrease, second decrease. Go to your next 2 stitches. 3, and your last 2 here. And that's 4. Alright, once you're done this, you're supposed to break the yarn and close everything up. So I'm going to quickly break the yarn. And then, if you can see here, technically you don't actually need to do much to kind of close everything up here, but what I do like to do is I like to grab my darning needle. I like to kind of just go around once and go around the other way, so then that way it's really tight so it doesn't unravel here. But essentially you have a pretty tight knot here, like you just pull and it'll be tightened up a little bit, and this is the bottom as well. So that's pretty much how you connect that center piece. So you finish off this part, and then we're going to go back to here and we're going to continue on building the body of the elephant. We're back to the outside again, and this here is the yarn that I was cut it off before when we were working on this, when we were connecting the 4 pieces together. You're gonna have to join these yarns again. And actually how I like joining the yarn is I like to tie a knot on one end around the other piece of yarn, like this, and just pull it as tight as you can. And then I like to tie the other one around the other. So then you have 2 knots, 1 knot on each of the other string, like this. And then once I'm done, and everything is kind of tight, I like to just pull like this, so then the 2 knots connect together. Trim off the ends. You don't have to trim them all like super close to the knot. And then they should be connected together, and those 2 knots should kind of like act against each other so they don't unravel. That's the goal anyways. Once you've joined your yarn together here, what you're going to be doing then is you're going to be going around and you're going to be expanding this from 56 stitches to 60. Right now you have 14 on each side, and what you need to do is you're going to be adding 2 single crochets to the first stitch and then adding 13 around. So 15, 15, 15, 15. Do be careful. Once you get to these sections here where you're connective, I've made them a little bit more loose so you can see kind of where they are. But this here is your stitch. All right, this is not a stitch. This is your connecting thing, so you're gonna jump ahead to here. So it doesn't really honestly matter. Just make sure that you're not adding an extra stitch here, or you're actually gonna end up with a lot more stitches than you started off with. But I'm gonna start and I'll show you as we kind of go along. So let's start. We have 1 here. We are going to start off with our second one here. So 1, 2. So this is our added one, and we're going to do 13 around. So now we've come to here. As you can see, we have this kind of connective thing here. We are not going to be using these ones here. So it doesn't really matter which one you choose. I'm going to choose to use this one and skip that one instead, just because this one's closer to this leg. So for this one here, I'm going to add 2. All right, and then 13 across. So we're going to skip this one again. I'm going to go here for 2, and then 13 around. And lastly, we're going to jump this one again, go to here, double in this area. That's 2, and then 13. That there is your 60. I find that I've been doing this a couple of times already. I've done a couple of elephants, and as you can see, you're kind of at the kind of end here. As you look, you're like, oh, I'm kind of going away from the middle. It's alright. If you look at the stitches that you're using, it's actually kind of diagonal anyways, like this. So don't worry too much about it. It does look like you're kind of going farther and farther and farther away, but that's how amigurumi works, because you're going in rounds. Every single time you start, you never start center, and unless the pattern tells you to kind of, recenter the stitches, so there's always kind of right down the middle, one straight line, you're going to go in a diagonal. So don't worry too much about it. It's going to look like this. So that is row number 9 of your pattern done. Let's go to 10. Row 10, we are to crochet 9 single crochets and then 2 in the next stitch. So we are going to be expanding from 60 to 66. So let's do a couple of these together. So 9, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, come on yarn, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you have 2 here for 10 and 11. Let's do another one, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 2 here for 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and then 2 in here for 32 and 33. So once you get to 33, that's kind of like the center of everything. You're going to continue on to do this for 3 more times until you get to 66. So, and one more thing. Once you're done 66, if you look at rows 11 through 13, you're going to be doing 66 around 3 times. So finish the 66, and then you're going to do another 66, and another 66, and another 66 to finish off to row 13. So I'm going to finish this off, and then I'm going to finish off my rows 11, 12, and 13. So I will meet you guys back once we are all done that. Welcome back, everybody. I am done my 11 to 13, so as you can see, it's already kind of expanding. We are going to move on to row number 14, where we are now going to decrease. So we just got to 66. We are now going to decrease back to 60. So 9 single crochets first. 1, 2. This always happens. 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, come on, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then once you're done, decrease for 10. So let's do it again. That is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then we are going to decrease here for 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then decrease here for 30. So you're going to get to 60, and then if you look, rows 15 to 19, you're going to go 60 around. So finish this off to get to 60, and then finish off rows 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then we will come back for 20, and this is where it's going to get really, really interesting. Welcome to the 20th row, everybody. We made it. This is where it gets really interesting. So the first thing they want you to do is, if you're not centered, as you can see, it's not really centered here, they want you to continue to single crochet until you find the center between 2 legs. So we're going to do that right now, and then once you get to that center, you're supposed to put a stitch marker there. So then that way you'll know kind of where you started from every single time. So let's quickly get to the middle between those 2 legs, and then we'll continue on. Welcome back to the middle. I found the middle. And what you're going to be doing is you'll need a stitch marker. I myself am a cheap person, so I don't really like using things and buying things if I don't have to. I like just using different colored yarn. So here is your stitch, and I'm going to mark the stitch here with this different colored yarn. So that way I know every single time I come back here that this is the stitch I'm supposed to be working with. So what I do is I just pull it through like this, and then I just do a slip knot, like that. So that way I know for sure every single time that is where my stitch should be, and then I'm a happy camper. So there you go. That is your stitch marked. We will continue on with the row. The next thing I want you to do is once you've placed this, you are going to start following these rounds. You're going to crochet 24 single crochets first. So let's do this. That's 24. Once you get to 24, you're going to take your trunk, dun 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 dun, we're going to start connecting everything together. You're going to single crochet 12 and connect these together. Now, I like doing it this way where I put the trunk kind of in front of my project like this, so then I kind of just like, you know, kind of see where all the stitches are. So you're going to single crochet. So you're going to go through your body, and then your trunk, yarn over, pull through, and then single crochet like that. All right, next one, body, trunk, yarn over, single crochet. One more, body and trunk, yarn over like this, and then single crochet. Now you'll know you'll do it correctly if you flip the thing over and you see how there's no bunching up here. That's when you're doing it correctly. If you're doing it incorrectly, it'll pinch. I actually have another project that I did here, oops, where, as you can see here, this line here, this was me doing it incorrectly. So kind of do what I'm doing right now. It's easy, even if you pull it, it doesn't go away. There's a line there. But if you look at the one that we're doing right now, there is no line like that. So this is what you want to do. So let's do a couple of more and we'll kind of really show off the good stitching. So I'm gonna go to here, body, trunk, pull through, and then yarn over, single crochet, body, trunk, pull through, single crochet, body, trunk, pull through, single crochet. So that's 6, and as you can see, no bunching up. So you've connected your trunk to your body. Once you are done that with those 12 stitches, then you're going to 24 crochet around to the remainder of the body. Now, 24 should get you to here, to where the stitch marker is, because that's 24 plus 24 is 48 plus 12 is 60. So 24 around, so now you can leave the trunk. Voila, you got to here. So that is row 20. That's awesome. So we're done that, and that is your connective trunk here to your body. So we're getting our elephant and we're well on our way. Let's move on to row 21. Row 21, you are to start off with 24 crochets. So this should get you to the base of kind of where you connected your trunk earlier, because we did 24 there. Once you're done here, you're supposed to now go and do 24 around the trunk. So there should be 24 around here. So if you look at the way that you've connected everything here, this bottom part here is not a stitch. This here is a stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now you're done that, you're going to connect it back to the body. So here, as you can see, this here would be your stitch 1. Something you have to be mindful of this pattern is that you have to really be careful about counting, because sometimes a lot of the connective areas look like they're supposed to be a stitch, but they're not. So do be careful about that when you're doing this. Make sure you count kind of like backwards, so then that way you're not adding stitches or taking away from them. So as you can see, you're becoming a little bit diagonal, but like I said before, with Amigurumi, you will have the diagonal because you're never square right in the top here. You're never going in a straight line, you're going in diagonally. That is 72 all the way around. So the ones that you have to be careful of was kind of where the trunk was joining your body. They were kind of like these extra things that look like stitches, but they're not. They were just the connective things, so do be careful about that, okay? Now, there was, for my pattern, I actually have this kind of end bit here that I need to weave in, so then that way it doesn't unravel. So I'm going to deal with that myself, but that doesn't affect you guys. If you guys were smart enough, we're going to move on to row 22. So for row 22, we are now decreasing from 72 back down to 66. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing essentially 10 single crochets and then a decrease. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come on, you. 7, 8, 9, 10, and then a decrease here. So a decrease. That's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and then a decrease here, 22. And there you go. That is 66. That is row 22 done. If you look at 23 and 24, you're going to go 66 around for those 2 rows. I will meet you guys at row 25. And that is rows 23 and 24. If you guys look at the next couple of rows, you'll notice that at 25 we are decreasing to 60, and then we repeat 60 at 26. 27 we decrease to 54, 28 we repeat 54, 29 we decrease to 48, and 30 we decrease to 42. So this is a lot of decreasing things, but essentially now that you've got the trunk on and all the legs and everything on, this here decreasing here should not be that big of a problem. So I'm going to leave you guys to finish off up until row 30, and then we are going to place the safety eyes and stuff firmly, and then we'll continue on with the rest of it. And we're going to connect everything together. We still have the ears and the tail to put on. So let's finish off up until row 30, and then we'll work on the stuffing and everything together. And welcome back! I have stuffed everything and I put the eyes on both sides. I had to change the camera because the elephant got really big. As you can see, there are some places where it's not very round, but it's okay. I left some room for me to kind of continue to stuff later. So in that way, you know, it's kind of like a preliminary stuff, and then after, if I still want to add more, I can add more. But let's continue on with the finishing of the top here, and then we can kind of finish stuffing more later if we want. The rest of this here, you're going to be decreasing. You're going to be decreasing from 42 to 36, and then 30, 24, 18, and etc. So from 42 to 36, you're going to be doing 5 single crochets. So and 5. And then a decrease here of 6. Next round. So decrease to 30. So 4 single crochets and then 1 decrease. We're almost there, guys. I can taste it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a decrease of 5. Do be careful as you guys continue on to make the smaller and smaller and smaller. Careful that your stitches don't get wider and wider. You don't get your yarn too loose, or if not, you're gonna have a lot of just kind of like stretchy looking single crochets all around here. Row 33, we decrease to 24. So 1, 2, 3, decrease, 4, we're almost there, you guys. And unfortunately, this elephant is getting really tangly. Row 34, decrease to 18. So 1, 2, decrease here is 3, 4, 5, decrease to 6, at this point they want you to stuff this a little bit more, so I'm going to do that right now, and then we'll come back and we'll finish the top here. And we're back after stuffing this a little bit more crazily. Don't worry too much about it bunching up kind of weird, because what you can do is if you've actually stuffed this pretty firmly, you can kind of like mold it around later. So just finish off the top here, and then you can kind of go around shaping everything. After that, we need to sew on a couple of the other pieces, and then we'll be done with this thing. So row 35, you are to decrease this even more. So 1, and decrease here with 2, and then 3, decrease here, 4, 5, decrease here, 6. As you can see, these are getting a little bit wider here, so something that you can do is just kind of like push the stuffing away so it doesn't actually stretch it a lot. You can deal with that later and then kind of re-stretch it back, but do be careful about that because it doesn't look very good if it gets too, if the single crochet is at top, get a little bit too stretchy. That's 8. Row 36, just decrease 6 times. And that's the end. Once you're done, they want you to close and break the yarn. So in this case here, you have 6, and technically if you remember, you actually started with a magic circle. I generally like to just grab this and kind of like, if you can see, you can pull it a little bit, but it's not going to really work. You're going to have to actually weave in the ends a little bit. If you were to use any more decreases, it'll actually bunch up here. You're better off just using a kind of darning needle and kind of just sewing around and just finishing and just kind of pulling it tight. That'll look a lot better than continuing to decrease. I've tried it before, and actually I have one right here. As you can see with this one here, if you continue to decrease, you can actually see like a little bit of like a bunching right here, and it's not very uniform. And this here, as you can see, they're a lot more stretched kind of crochets compared to this one here, and you can definitely see it on the top here. So this is what you don't want. That's why you want to be really mindful that even while you're stuffing, you don't stuff the top part really tight, so that way your stitches are still a little bit kind of like, you know, tight up here, so then you can kind of move around your stuffing and filling later. But this is what happens when you just kind of like continue to decrease. So my suggestion is just kind of sew this. So finish off with that, and then we're going to move on to getting all the other pieces on our elephant. Well, he's not the prettiest thing, but he's my elephant. So I've done kind of doing my best to kind of squish everything around. I'll continue to kind of feel it out and see kind of what I can do with it. But essentially, you know, he's completely stuffed and everything's done. So now let's move on with getting some of these pieces on. I think honestly that the tail is the easiest thing to get on, just because you can kind of just like park him on his backside and kind of figure out where you kind of want like the end of it to be, like maybe like right here perhaps. Easiest thing about this one too is that you can actually just kind of sew it into here. Now, just a warning, I am not the best sewer. I actually hate this part of every amigurumi pattern because this part just takes forever. But I think, you know what, let's put it right there, and yeah, and let's do one more. Let's put one more down. All right, I think I'm happy with this. I hope I'm happy with this. But the reason why I don't like this is because this is probably the most time-consuming thing, and out of all of the things that you're doing with your amigurumi, this is the one step that could really ruin your project because it could make it look really ugly. And that's because I'm not really good at this part. It's cute enough. All right, let's move on. So with my pattern here, I've actually kind of overstretched the under parts of the eyes a little bit. And actually I put these eyes right where these are just because I was like, oh, you know, it might kind of take away from people looking at it, but I'm gonna put like tusks like right here so that kind of hide some of the blemishes that I've done. And this is what's great about amigurumi, is that when you're kind of putting things together and sewing things together, you can hide your ugliness and things. You can also go back and fix things. So as on the bottom, there were these big gigantic holes that were forming, so I just went in with some more yarn and just kind of closed them up a little bit more. So that's what's great about this. But this is the tedious part because you have to sew everything on. So I think I want the tusk to be kind of like right where the trunk and the body meets, like right here. Yeah, like that. I think I'm happy there. And he has teeth. Yay, tusks. All right, this is the last step and probably the most annoying step of all because the ears are annoying. So as you can see, you've made these here and they're really pretty, but you're supposed to kind of like make them a little bit concave like this. And you have to just find a space that makes it look nice. And this, for me, is where a lot of tragedy can happen, because the problem with this thing is that it's not sturdy and the shape morphs. So, you know, you could potentially ruin your work. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to like use the eye as kind of like my center. I'm going to go kind of from like here, and this is kind of where I'm going to be. If you guys have like stitch markers and placeholders and stuff like that, this is a great place to bring them out. I don't really have those, so I'm just gonna eyeball this, and we're gonna hope to God, or whoever you worship, that this will look nice and it won't look bad. Yeah, you know what? This is okay. It's a little bit far from the actual like eye itself, but it looks cute. I am going to finish the other one, and then we can marvel at how amazing, or maybe how not amazing, this thing looks. And there you have it! A dopey little awesome elephant. And hopefully it didn't take you guys too long to make this thing. I thought, you know what? The ears turned out kind of cute. I'm kind of glad that I kind of put them where they are. They look kind of dopey in the front. That's it, everyone. Everything's done. This is awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's go to the outro. And there you have it. An awesome, cute, stuffy, and cuddly elephant. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. If you guys want me to do more of the kind of amigurumi patterns and stuff, please let me know. I do like these. They do take a little bit of time to kind of prepare, but they're very, very, very fun to do, and the outcomes are really amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I will see you guys next time on Crochet Impossible. Bye-bye.